very much want to get into that. But before I ask you about the Fed, I got to ask about the stimulus negotiations. Do you have a clear sense of where Republicans stand right now as things appear to be stalled? I'm not sure that congressional Republicans in the White House are yet speaking with a united voice.
Well, there are no negotiations going on at this time. Unfortunately, the Republicans are not willing to spend any more than $1 trillion on the recovery, on this pandemic, following up on the CARES Act that we had. And we came out of the House having supported the HEROES Act, which would spend $3.4 trillion. Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, along with Mr. Schumer from the Senate, both decided that, okay, since you're resisting Republicans, the $3 trillion bill will take $1 trillion off the table, which you've been insisting on. And if you will support $1 trillion and we support $1 trillion, let's see what we can do with $2 trillion to deal with this unemployment and those people who are looking to the government to do something similar to help them that we did in the CARES Act, where we subsidize unemployment with $600 for the unemployed. The Republicans don't want to do that. They're saying maybe $400, but they'll only put up $3, and then the cities and the states or whatever is going to have to match it. We're trying to fund the cities and the states that are running out of money and who may be, laying off employees. And we're not just talking about nurses and doctors. We're talking about janitors, and we're talking about people who put their lives on the line every day to keep this economy going, to keep our cities operating. And so they don't want to support, at least how much we put in the CARES Act for unemployment. They don't want to support the rental assistance. I have $100 billion to support the rental assistance. The president doesn't want to put up any money for that. It goes on and on and on.
Okay.
And so the negotiations are stalled. Well, and the president interfered with the negotiations.
I want to ask, because clearly this COVID pandemic is its own issue. Many people have said we certainly have to spend to get through this, but it's so mind-boggling to me that we're talking in trillions of dollars of spending and just questioning how many trillions. Sometimes it feels, Congresswoman, like it's the Democrats and Republicans are both trying to take the American people out to an all-you-can-eat dinner, but trying to stick different people with the bill. Republicans don't care how much we eat as long as corporations and the rich don't have to pay. Democrats do want the rich to pay more. At some point, do we have to talk about how all of this, even this essential pandemic spending, gets paid for?
Yes, we do have to talk about that. In talking about that, we have to take responsibility for the people of this country who expects their government not to allow them to be evicted and put out on the streets. They expect their government to take responsibility to see that they can feed their families. They expect this government to help them with their health care needs and to deal with a real plan to ensure that we don't exacerbate this infection that we're confronted with. Yeah, there are great expectations from our citizens, and we're hearing from them every day, and it is going to cost money, and we're going to have to pay for it, and we're going to have to do what we do in this country. We're going to have to strengthen the economy so that there are jobs for everybody, jobs for people who have, big backgrounds and a lot of education, jobs of people who perhaps don't have training, don't have, the kind of education. We've got to talk about job creation. We've got to stimulate this economy. We've got to pay our taxes, and we've got to take care of the people of this country and not just consider that the rich can take care of themselves. The 1% can do that. They can have their yachts, they can have their multiple mansions, they can have everything that they want, but we're not going to sit still and allow the least of these to be put out on the street with their children and not to have food on their tables. Yeah, we're going to have to pay for it.
Congresswoman, I get a lot of your points, but I feel like there's blame on both sides here. Why is there partisan bickering and not compromise happening with millions of Americans unemployed, small businesses shutting down, the pandemic spreading, states going broke? I mean, why is Congress going on vacation? Both sides surely can get together and compromise.
Well, I've never been on vacation from Congress. When I break on the weekends and I come home, I am out in the community. I am with my seniors. I'm going to senior citizens' homes. I'm going to churches, and we don't have vacations as people would think about vacations. We're working, and don't forget, we're in election time and all of that. But let me just say this. It is not simply bickering. It is about what kind of decisions are being made based on the philosophy of the Democrats and or the Republicans. Now, you in the media know this president, and you know him well. He has defined himself. Do you think for 1 minute that he is capable of guiding his negotiators, that is Mnuchin and Meadows, to do the right thing? They are held hostage by a president who has demonstrated his lack of knowledge about the Constitution, his lack of caring about the least of these, only caring about himself and building a wall as a political response. I would not be able, no matter I or anybody else, in a responsible way to negotiate with the President of the United States who's not capable of a good negotiation.